All right, so automatically we can fill in domain, all real numbers. Okay. In all of these functions, your domain is always going to be all real numbers. X values that we can put into it. Okay. So then, now, let's figure out what is my amplitude. Agree with the amplitude being 1. Okay. That comes from that 1 right there. Okay. Middle. Zero comes from this plus 0 out there. Right? So that puts my middle at 0. Which means then that my high is going to be where? 1, positive 1. My low is going to be negative 1. Okay? Then my period, oops, I suppose we can fill in range then too. My range is going to be the interval from negative 1 to positive 1. Right? Okay? My period is going to be what? 2, because it's 2 pi divided by this number right there, which is pi. So that's going to be 2. Okay. Where does this first curve start? Starts at 0. And that's anything added or subtracted inside the parentheses. And we think oppositely there. So that means it's going to end where? It's going to end at 2. Okay? Now, over the last couple of class periods, I've been asked, well, Linz, how do you go about graphing it? Well, the first thing I look at where I start. I'm starting at 0. So I can put my axes on the left side of my line. Okay? If I wasn't starting at 0, then I would adjust where that is. And I would set that first. And then I would go from there. Okay? So it says then that I went all the way up to 1. Now, and then down to 0. Now it's a cosine curve, so that's going to start up and end up. Right? Okay. Now, when I'm doing it on pencil and paper, I have a ruler with me. So I actually start by setting my intervals, or not my intervals, wrong word, my spacing, my horizontal spacing and my vertical spacing, and then I put the curve on last. Okay. When I'm doing it up here on the board, I don't have a ruler with me, so I start with the curve. Again, they both work. Okay? So then that puts this down here to be negative 1. That puts this up here to be positive 1. This would then be my middle of 0. Horizontally, this would be 0. All the way over here would be 2, which means halfway would be 1. Okay? Tomorrow on your quiz, green is going to be worth a point. Red is going to be worth a point. Brown is going to be worth a point. And all this stuff over here is going to be worth a half a point.
So we don't need to label the in-betweens of the points? Just the
That's the minimum.
beginning, middle, end?
Yep, that's the minimum that we require. Okay? If you want to then label this as 1/2 and this as 3/2, that would be nice too. Okay? Haven't talked about it yet. Yep. Go for it. So on this one, before I even start, I would go like this. Agree with that? Okay. Quick, easy way to check that you factored B out correctly. What is it? Distribute it back in. Okay? If you distribute this back in here, you should get this back. Okay? 1/2 times x is 1/2 x. 1/2 times positive 6 pi is positive 3 pi. Okay? So that works out. Okay? So that's what I'm going with then. So, what is my domain? All real numbers. What is my amplitude? What is my middle? So that means my high value is 3. My low value is 1. My range is from 1 to 3. Okay. Period. Two pi divided by 1/2 is 4 pi. Start. Opposite of this number right here. So that's going to be negative 6 pi. End. Negative 2 pi. Add the period to the start, gets you your end. Okay? Let's see, this one, that one, and that one. I can put my axes over there because everything that we have is negative in terms of x's, and everything that we have is positive in terms of y's. So I'm really looking at quadrant number 2. Okay. Then it is a sine curve, correct? But it's reflected because of the negative number there. So instead of starting in the middle and going up, I'm going to start in the middle and go down, up, and end back in the middle.
Wouldn't the amplitude be -1?
No. Nope. Amplitude's always positive. It's because of the distance. Okay? So here would be negative 6 pi. Here would be negative 2 pi. Halfway in between would be negative 4 pi. Halfway in between, negative 3 pi. Halfway in between, negative 5 pi. Vertically, 1, 2, and 3. Questions on that one? Okay. Quiz tomorrow looks exactly like the purple sheet that I just handed out to you. Okay. Tomorrow we are collecting the white sheet that says 4.4 graphing sine and cosine transformations on it. We are also collecting the purple sheet, review 4.4 graphing sine and cosine. Okay? For everyone, we're collecting those two worksheets now. Okay?